Welcome back to Out with the Blue, In with the Old. And yep, that says 69 Cadillac up there. Uh, I got a story that's going to lead to a 69 Cadillac. And it's my very first car, a 1970 Cadillac. Dark green sedan DeVille with white leather interior. I got it before I was 17. And it taught me a lot. Taught me a lot of what I put out here. Because I was just a starry-eyed young man and wanted a car really bad. And Cadillac sounded like a good one. I always liked big cars, and back then they were big. This was 1979, and so it was a 9-year-old car. I was working for a landscaper, and Mason landscaper guy. I was kind of just laborer, and he knew I wanted a car, and I guess his mother-in-law had this old Cadillac sitting in her backyard, and she'd gotten a new car, and he started off with $750, which, I said, oh, I don't have that much, And we, worked, a couple of weeks went by, and I think he dropped it to $650, and nah, I don't have that much. And I wasn't doing it to talk him down. I was doing it because I didn't have that much saved up. And but I don't know what he thought. But anyway, after about 2 or 3 weeks, I still didn't have my license. So I wasn't in a huge rush, but I did want to get a car. He said $550, and I did have that much. And I told him, all right. I didn't look at the car. I mean, all I did was look at the car in the backyard. I didn't look at it, and still didn't have my license. And he said, well, I'll bring it over on a Saturday morning for you. And he lived about 7 miles from my house, so it wasn't a big trip. And Saturday morning, I tell my dad, hey, my boss is bringing my new car in. What? He's upset because I never said a word to him about it. And I should have, but I didn't. I didn't want him to talk me out of it. And in hindsight, I probably should have had him talk me out of it. But like I said, I learned from it. Well, he showed up with the car. I'd already paid him, got the title and all that good stuff. And I got a 1970 Cadillac sitting in the driveway. And now I start looking at it. It needs an exhaust. The exhaust is leaking. The front clip has been changed. It's been in a good enough wreck where both front fenders and the hood and the front end was all changed out. It painted to match, but you can tell. And there's a lot of other things wrong with it that I didn't find out till I started driving. I mean, there were some things that were wrong with it before I got my license that I fixed. Then I finally passed my test in my mother's 74 Newport and got my Cadillac registered and insured. And it wobbled at 45 miles an hour, which is kind of common on big old Cadillacs. The center links would wear out on them. Kind of easy, it seemed like. Because after that, I had several more Cadillacs of that era. I never even checked to see how many miles were on. I think it had about 140, which at that time, that was different than mileage today. Cars have overdrive now. And that Cadillac was highway geared, but the engines still turn a little bit more than they do now with modern overdrive transmissions. So when cars had 150, 175,000 miles on them, they were getting pretty spent at that point. Not, like today, somebody takes care of one, it can still be in real nice shape at that mileage. My Ford over there with 228, still real nice. Anyway, and even back then, I guess you could do it, but it was, the cars wore out a little faster, just mainly because of the, transmissions being geared that way and the rear ends being geared that way. I don't think they were, subpar. They were well built cars. Anyway, the car was a disaster. I mean, it was a water pump leaked, had lifter noise, a lot of lifter noise, which wasn't common on those cars, but if you didn't change oil, they'd develop lifter noise. That was common on one that wasn't maintained. And that's what I got, a very unmaintained 1970 Cadillac that had been in an accident. Anyway, I liked it because it was my first car, and it was a Cadillac. It was a damn good looking car, especially the real dark green with the white leather. And but I knew it was a piece of crap. I mean, it wasn't even worth trying to fix up. Anyway, there's a few other stories to go along with that car, but I'm not going to get into those at this time. But I will say that I sold it, actually, to a friend of mine. I think for the same price I bought it. And by then, he'd gotten new exhaust, water pump, and several other things had been put on it. Anyway, I replaced it with a 68 Grand Prix. And the Grand Prix was really cool. I really liked it. But I wanted another Cadillac. And I told my dad, I really want it. I'm looking. He's telling me, you got to be careful, because now he can tell me, yeah, you got to be careful what you look at, Big cars like that were cheap back then. Nice ones were cheap. Gas had gone up all through the 70s, and a lot of people didn't want the gas guzzling cars anymore, which was good for me because they were the cars I liked. I didn't mind putting gas in them. Well, I did mind, but it was worth it. One day, I come home at night, and there's a 69 Cadillac parked in the driveway. And it's really clean. I mean, it's like super sharp. And but it's a sedan DeVille like the other one, no vinyl roof, which I loved. But this one has fabric interior. It's turquoise, and the interior's turquoise. It's really just pretty. But it's a 69, not a 70. They look very close. There's basically just trim differences on the end. The taillights are slightly different, but they're the same car. The 69 had a quarter point higher compression, same exact engine, but it was, I believe, 1075 to 1 compression, maybe 10 and a half, but it was a quarter less on the 70 models. And that was all through GM. They dropped on a quarter point, not much. 71's when they did the big drop. Anyway, I go in the house. I said, whose Cadillac's that? And my dad, he worked for a company that made printing machines, and he was kind of a big shot there. He had engineered a couple parts. He was a machinist for years and years, and he was also a mechanical engineer. So, and he'd worked there all his life. And he said one of the executives was getting rid of his vacation car. And apparently the car was just used for certain occasions, going on trips and what have you. And I said, well, really? He goes, yeah, I bought it from him. And I said, well, what'd you give? He goes, $600. And I'm like, all right, well, I had to look that up because right around 79, $600, inflationed out would be like $2,431 now. Okay, still not much money. I mean, that's not that much money now. You can get a nice car for $2,500. That's a good deal. But anyway, like I said, people did not want these cars, so they were kind of easy to get. And I'm like, well, that thing's really cool. Oh yeah, it was always in the garage. Blah blah blah. So I said, well, what would you sell it for? He said, just give me the 600. So it was my car for $600. And I got in it, and it's like brand new. I opened the hood. The engine compartment's like brand new. Just like the complete polar opposite of the one I just had. And here's the kicker. It had 52,000 miles on it. And the funny thing is, when I drove that car, it didn't do it as bad, but I had to put a center link in it also. It was very slight, but it was there, and it was the same part, center link. And I've had more after that, and that was like, that's why I said that's a common problem with those. Anyway, it drove like a brand new car. Everything was like new. I polished it because it had a little oxidation, and then waxed it. And I mean, back then, Cadillac put the nicest paint jobs on cars. They were all lacquer, and it seemed like their paint jobs were just nicer than the other American-made cars. By far nicer than Ford or Chrysler. Ford and Chrysler just never had the same paint jobs as the higher-end General Motors cars. And that back then, yeah. And so I got that car, and I mean, it was gorgeous. And I drove it for a while, and I got a different job after the landscaper guy. I was working at a gas station, and I would park it out caddy corner in the front, just so it was away from everything. And there was a spot over there that nobody drove near, even people coming in and out. Nobody went near it. And I had somebody come in one day and ask me, what would I sell it for? Because it looked nice. And I just blurted out $1,500, thinking there's no way the guy's going to pay it. Which would be equal to, I don't know, almost about $7,000 now, which, let's just say, the $1,500, that's what I told them. And I blurted it out because I didn't really care about selling it. And, well, he goes, that's kind of high. I said, I don't care if I sell it. And, no, I understand. And the next day he showed up and he had $1,500. And I sold it. And I missed it. And I, not too long after that, found another 70 gold Cadillac, sedan DeVille, no vinyl roof. I got addicted to that body style, mainly because I like the the thin roof pillars in the back and the crease in the back window. To me, the roof on them looked lowered. The body was kind of thick and the roof was thin. And 70 was the last year of that style. To me, that's one of the best looking Cadillacs, my opinion. I mean, there's people that like other ones better. I've had older ones. I had a 62, which I really, really liked. And I had some others. But I had the 70, the 69, and the 70, and that's three of that body style. And it's still one of my favorite cars to this day. Maybe it's nostalgia, but I look at that body style and it's still just a really great looking car. And those cars performed well. I had the gold one while I was in the Navy, and I would drive back and forth from Norfolk to New Jersey in that car. And I'm 18, 19, and basically would leave out at night and put the car on 80 miles an hour from Norfolk, Virginia to New Jersey, 325 miles from the base gate to the driveway of the house I grew up in. And that car never missed a beat, never acted up. And the gold one was loaded up. But anyway, this story's more about that turquoise one, because that's the one that got me started on the kick. I guess the beat up one told me I liked that car, but the one that really got me knowing what they're like when they're nice was the 69. There's not really any advice on buying cars or anything like that today. I just kind of felt like telling that story. Anyway, thanks for listening.